exactly what they're going to tell the jurors about how to determine whether or not distribution is basically, it's distribution when you're having rugs and you have people at your house or around you and they're also taking the rugs. Okay, so let's talk about it. So they had the discussion, and basically the defense felt like they should not give a response. Now the judge said that was absolutely unacceptable. The prosecution said the response should be yes, that it is the same as distribution. The judge also said that was not an appropriate response. So the judge then proceeded to reference two cases where this was obviously a question. And one of those cases was the State versus Wallace from 2008. Now, the question is a sale required for distribution? Okay, that is what the judge was focusing in on about the case of State versus Wallace from 2008. With that all being said, Mark Agnifilo basically disagreed and asked the judge if he could give an example of what exactly distribution is, or an example of how the law and when the law should be applied. And the judge told him no. The judge said, you and the prosecution came to an agreement on yesterday. There was an email sent out by the court at 6:30 p.m. And so basically he didn't want to hear his example, so he flat out said no. So then the judge said the jury may look for guidance elsewhere if he in fact did not guide them. Agnifilo says, Your Honor, a mistake was simply made. And then Comey says that, now Comey seems to always want to have everything going her way, and luckily for her, the judge seems to think the same thing, that everything needs to go Comey's way. Okay, please pay attention. So Comey says it's about the element, not the charge. Okay, saying as a whole, it's about the element, not the charge as a whole. And this can cause further confusion amongst the jurors. And then the judge agreed with Comey, as per usual. And then basically, that's when Agnifilo quoted the judge and said, Your Honor, you've already addressed this really, okay, in your instructions to the jury. He basically said, he quoted the judge, and he reminded him that he himself, that being the judge, Judge Aaron Subramanian, he told him that you said to the jurors, consider my instructions as a whole, not as a single instruction. And then he referenced page 36, line 17, where he spoke, the judge that is, spoke about the elements of distribution. And then he said they are as follows, and then listed 3 separate elements. Now, by the fact that the judge already said this when he gave the jury instructions, why would he now backpedal and allow the prosecution to change the narrative of what distribution is? Well, because the judge is pro-prosecution and clearly biased in this case. And that's just my opinion. Now, the judge said it's improper to leave the jurors out at sea with no guidance, and that basically they may start seeking guidance elsewhere. Well, here's the thing. If he feels that they may start seeking guidance elsewhere, is he implying that he doesn't trust the jurors not to, in fact, look up, read, or research, or go to social media, or go to other people and talk about the case when he's already instructed them not to? Maybe that's why he should have had the jurors sequestered. That's my opinion. Then Agnifilo proposed a revision. Okay, the judge told him, you can add another line, simply add another line and revise it, and then see if we can go with that. So once Agnifilo proposed a revision with an added line, at the judge's suggestion, the judge, of course, denied it. Driscoll, the smart young man that I always tell you about, he's young, he's like in his 30s, maybe 32 at best, who's very knowledgeable of the law. You can tell that he studies a lot and reads a lot of research, and also he has a very good knowledge of the law, and I believe that his specialty is litigation. Well, then Driscoll stood up, and he said to the judge, sole possession, and I want you to listen to this, because this is important, it's key. He says sole possession rests with the defendant. Now, why is that important? Because here's why it's important. I'm so glad you asked. You see, please pay attention. If, in fact, there are 10 people at my house, and I have bought illegal substances that I am going to take, and I bought them for myself, but then people come and show up, and they want to partake in the illegal substances with me, I may allow them to have some. I'm not going to give them all of my illegal substances. but I will allow them to use them. For example, if I'm smoking a blunt, and there's people that want to smoke the blunts with me, and they want me to pass it to them. Okay, is that drug distribution? Well, of course it isn't. And you see, sole possession rests with the defendant because the person who has possession of the substances, if they're still in that person's possession, that is not distribution. Just because I allow you to hit my blunt, when you get done hitting it, give it back to me, because it's mine. So did I distribute it to you? No, I did not, because I didn't give it to you. I allowed you to use some of it, okay? Do you see how that is going? So when Mr. Driscoll said that, clearly the judge and the prosecution were perplexed and perturbed. So then, that is when the judge says, is there another element that the jury inquired about? If there is, then let me know. That was his response. At this point, it was clear to see that the judge was now hostile, angry, upset, and bothered, okay, and annoyed, to say the least, that Mr. Driscoll dared to answer his question, which he thought there would be no answer to other than no. When Driscoll said yes, and then proceeded to remind him of what he himself should already know, he didn't like it. Now, with that all being said, Driscoll says, yes, there is, Your Honor. When he's asking, is there another element that the jury's inquired about, then let me know. Driscoll says, in fact, there is, Your Honor. Page 38, lines 3 and 7. Now, before Driscoll could finish his talking point, Comey stood up without begging to interrupt. She just clearly interrupted. She didn't say, excuse me, could I have a word? She just stood up and said, Your Honor, this is an attempt to purposely mislead the jury. And then, of course, the judge agreed with her and disregarded Driscoll's objection and said that that element does not apply because that element is about possession with intent to distribute. I want you all to pay attention. Driscoll then had the wherewithal and the due diligence to ask the judge, Your Honor, could you please mark our proposal as an exhibit? To which the judge said yes. So why is he asking the judge to mark the proposal as an exhibit? Well, because they're going to have to appeal this if Diddy's convicted. Okay, and they need to have all of the evidence and all of the shenanigans that have happened, all of the prior bad acts, all of the motions filed and eliminated that were in fact dismissed and looked over, all of the prosecutorial misconduct, starting with the perjurious testimony that was given by some of the prosecution's own witnesses. They need to have all of that in their arsenal when they go to file the appeal. And I do believe that they can win on appeal if they have to appeal this, because let's not forget that Mr. Brian Steele is the top appellate attorney in the country with 45 reversals and 300 to his credit. So with that all being said, listen, it's really frustrating to sit here and watch this travesty of justice. Now, some would beg to differ and say Diddy's getting exactly what he deserves. Well, no, he isn't. Not as it pertains to the law, the facts, and the evidence, and the testimony that has been presented. And that's just what it is. And again, I don't even like Diddy, but I do like for justice to be distributed fairly and equally. Now, I have my friend Secret Service Sam, and I would love for him to give you his thoughts. And please make sure to follow him. Shout out your TikTok, your YouTube, or whatever else.
Yep, it's at Secret Service Sam. How's everybody doing today? I'm just chillaxing here. We're taking a little break. They just adjourned. Jason Driscoll, like I say, he likes to throw a stick in the wheel of justice. That kid, he's 32 years old. He looks 25. And what did he say exactly, Queen? See, you're so good. See, Queen is so good about writing this down and actually giving you guys what happened. I'm really good about making it funny. And of course you are too. But what was Driscoll? He got up there and basically they were making a decision on a question the jury had.
About distribution.
Distribution, right? And it was about the way that it was instructed to them. And then Jason Driscoll gets up and is like, well, Your Honor, you know, in the case of James versus Jameson or whatever, he's like, in 1962, they ruled that this, and you're like, and everybody goes quiet because literally anytime Jason Driscoll hits that mic drop. Like if he was a comedian, he'd be Dave Chappelle. He's like, you know, the best rapper who's in your top 5. But I mean, he just mic drops it every time, and he's the youngest one in that room. the judge is like, the judge Subramanian was like, okay, Murr. He's like, really? Like, we're almost here at the 1 yard line and you're gonna, he throws a flag on the play and everybody's like, this kid, but he's always right. That's the craziest part about him. He had to be that guy it had to be his guy in the class who was just, top of his class. So very smart. I feel like we should be getting a verdict today. That's what we all want. We're tired. I was saying, when Diddy went to New York, let his people go, Like, get us out of here. Let us go, please. He's so funny. But there's so many characters here, guys. Queen and I were both assaulted by one of the line sitter dudes. What is going on? The block is hot. What are they freaking out about, Miss Combs? Okay.
Oh, Diddy's mom's coming out. That's what it is. You want to go record her scene?
No, I'm just gonna.
Listen, let me see if I have any moderators. Moderators, if you're in the chat, please block Michael Scott. He is clearly a troll.
Look at these people surrounding Miss Combs.
He is clearly a troll. Hold on.
Oh, I saw you are Armand thing. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to add more moderators because there's a lot of trolls that like to hop in the chat who are clearly upset and annoyed, bothered and butthurt, okay? At the end of the day. Now, with that all being said, hopefully there will be a verdict today. If not, then I definitely expect it to come tomorrow, okay? With that all being said, hold on, beloveds. What's going on? Is somebody arguing? There's so much drama, you can barely, stay focused. And so with that all being said,
I want that. I want to go back on it.
hold on, I'm getting a troll out of here. Now, Jeff ATL, no verdict yet, beloved. Hopefully it's coming soon. Okay, please pay attention. Hopefully before the day, because I am so tired of getting up out of my bed at 2 and 3 in the morning. Okay? So with that all being said, James, do you want to say anything? Let me let you over here.
As always, y'all, thank you so much for supporting the brilliant queen. And as always, please support me as well at James R. Sanders, all one word, on social media. And y'all know I'm trying to monetize my page. Please support me on YouTube at James R. Sanders. And I'm hoping that they have a verdict today. It's been an interesting day. And it's a lot going on. Let me let y'all see what's going on.
Judge, whatever his name is.
Subramanian.
Okay.
I had one of my Indians.
Y'all, it's so much.
So now I got it. I'm just trying to spread the love.
No, but I think he's horrible. And I think he's definitely in a prosecution pocket.
Really?
Yeah. I kind of
It's a lot going on, y'all.
What she said about the judge. She said the judge is in the prosecution's pocket. I said I agree. Now listen, you guys, you all heard that. We have people here that are clearly upset about the judge's bias, because that's what it seems to be. And, like I said, distribute justice fairly and equally, whether you like Diddy or not. This isn't just about Diddy. This is bigger than Diddy. The bottom line is everyone should have a right to due process of law, and not to have people making up things and telling things, that aren't true, making and painting false narratives. So with that all being said, hold on.
They don't want him in the trial, but they want to keep it up.
So with that all being said, I'm looking for this to actually end in a hung jury. Ratchet. Come over here and tell me your thoughts, beloved. How you doing today? Let me let Ratchet TV come over here and say what he has to say about this. We may have different opinions on what have you, but I want to get as many.
Good morning. Salute to your chat. What's going on? So what's your question?
We got some Diddy haters in here who don't care about justice. And I told them this is bigger than Diddy.
Oh,
it's not going fair, the things that are happening that we're witnessing. The judge already made his own ruling when he gave the instructions to the jurors. He already gave them the instructions about the distribution, but for him to go back on his own words when Mark Agnifilo reminded him that you already gave them instructions on this. You listened to the 3 elements, and that should be the answer right there. But he wants to appease Comey, the prosecution.
He's
it's
always
clearly that he's biased.
But have you noticed that every time they get into this situation, the judge leans right with the defense? Every
the
time.
prosecution, you mean?
I mean, excuse me, yeah, the prosecution, yeah. He leans right with them every time. It's like, what are we talking about? This is drug trafficking, right? So the law is the law. It doesn't change.
Exactly.
We were speaking about this yesterday at lunch. The law is the law, and the law doesn't change. So
That's right.
the definition of drug trafficking is the same definition it's always been. So me asking the judge, when they look, okay, well, is this drug trafficking I'm looking at? I don't know. What do you think? What are you talking about? What do they
Right,
think?
it's not what you think, it's the law.
It's what is the law? Is this trafficking or not? It's it.
And is this distribution or not? Now, for him to tell Mark Agnifilo that he can add another line and revise the comment or the decision that came to yesterday, right? But once he revised it, the judge said no, he denied it. But then he also told Comey that we can't say yes, that this is the answer. But what is the answer? The answer should go by the law, and the law was quoted by him himself, the judge, when he listed the elements of distribution.
Exactly.
Why can't he just tell the jurors to do that? But he doesn't want to do that. Instead, he makes allowances for the prosecution to get a leg up and have their way.
I agree with you. I think that the prosecution is having their way with this case. So once the jury gets, he's basically saying, Comey, okay, I'm going to give them your definition. So by that, you're basically saying he's guilty of that, because they're asking the question because they don't understand, and if it says yes, more likely he's going to be guilty.
And give them an example of what they're saying distribution is in this case, because we know what it really is.
Okay, so in this case, they're basically saying, if me, her, and some content creators all get together one night, and we got rugs on the table, and we all do them together, but I brought them, I distribute them to them. Like, that's just people sitting down at a table having fun.
And let's talk about what Driscoll said. Now, Driscoll made a very excellent point when he said that, Your Honor, according to the law, the distribution rests with the possession rests with the defendant.
Exactly.
How does that make sense? Because here's the thing: if Diddy brought the illegal substances and they all were using them at the freak off or wherever, he still is in possession of them. He didn't give it to them; he allowed them to use it. It's no different than if I'm smoking weed or a blunt and I pass it to you and you pass it to somebody else. It's going to come back to me because it's mine.
Yeah.
I didn't say y'all could have it. I said y'all could get it.
Yeah, and,
so
and nobody bought anything. So how can I just distribute something if you didn't buy it? You didn't. I just gave it. We just did it. We just at a party doing these substances together, and it leaves with me. I didn't hand you a whole brick.
And here's the thing: even if we want to make the argument that you don't have to purchase or you don't have to make a sale for it to be distribution, let's go with that then, as Comey wants to go with it. Well, the bottom line is, if he brings them and we all use them, when he leaves, he takes the rest of them that's left over with him. That's not distribution.
Exactly. So I don't understand how we even this far into the case and we still don't got the definitions of the law. Like, it's either yes, this is drug trafficking, or no, it's not. One of the two. It's the law does not change depending on who the defendant is. And right now the law is changing based on it being Diddy. If it wasn't Diddy, it wouldn't be. That's not distribution. It's just not.
That's right.
And by law, it's not. So,
and like I said, if they want to find Diddy guilty, they should have charged him with the domestic violence.
Yeah.
Because he's guilty of that.
Yeah, you
but
could.
we should go by, the facts, the evidence, and what he's actually charged with. Not just painting our narratives because we don't like them, not just spinning our emotions. Justice needs to be distributed equally and fairly. And that's all I have to say about it.
I agree with you 100%.
Thank you,
I don't think justice is being served, though.
No,
And I think this is a very unfair trial.
It absolutely is.
Shout out your channel out for my people.
Yes, I'm the original Queen Ahmadai Shakur Show. And shout out yours as well.
Ratchet TV, the hood's journalist. Ratchet TV. Just type in Ratchet TV, you'll find me. Salute. And say yours one more time.
The original Ahmadai Shakur Show.
Spell it, because I don't know if they know how to spell it.
It's AHMADIYYAH.
Okay, there you go.
The original Queen Ahmadai Shakur
The
Show.
original. There's only one.
That's right.
Salute. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you, beloved. All right, so y'all heard it. We're getting various opinions because I don't want anyone to think that I'm painting a narrative Okay, because people who paint narratives don't tend to have other people coming on to give their own views and perspectives. Okay, please pay attention. With that all being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you don't have to share, you don't have to subscribe, you don't have to even follow me, you don't have to be in my chat. You will not hurt my feelings. I am perfectly fine with the people, the loyal royals that I in fact have. Okay, so I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your life. And if we reach a verdict, I will be letting you all know today.
All right, hey people. All right, good.